and John Pellin. Welcome.
Woo! Go us.
How exciting. We've got an interview with a couple who is a business couple and personal, how do I say it?
Love and life.
They're soulmates, they're business partners, they're lovers, they're everything. And so first of all, let's talk to Trish first. And Trish, tell us, how did you come into this wonderful, amazing world of hypnosis? What happened with you?
What actually happened with me is I actually stumbled across the world of hypnosis. I had gone bankrupt and I was homeless at the time. So I had been living under a bridge for 3 months. Excuse my hand, the cat is just trying to flick the screen. I haven't seen her all day.
Can I just say, this is the most, I've got to just say something. The previous interview I did just before you, I don't know if you saw it, Helen Mitas from the United Kingdom, her cat, Molly, kept coming across all the time. So what's your cat's name?
So that was Maya, and we've also got Max. They're both hanging around.
Oh my God! And hers is Molly, so it's 3 M's. Incredible!
And we haven't seen them all day, mind you. So
they've been sleeping until now. So.
Oh my God! So anyway, let's go back because this is an amazing story. So Trish, what you're saying is that. So tell me, because I'm very fascinated as to how it came that you were living under a bridge.
I'd gone bankrupt. I had been frauded by my business partner at the time, and it was something that happened very quickly and very dramatically. People had basically stormed into my house, repossessed the house, the car, everything, and I had no idea what was going on. The only reason why I got a heads up was because I wasn't part of the business. I was like a silent partner, and this had gone on for 2 years. I didn't realise the business was sort of going down the gurgler. And and then I went to poker on the Friday night, and one of the guys I was playing poker against, Greg, he came up to me and he said, "Oh, are you ready for tomorrow?" And I said, "What's on tomorrow?" And he said, "We're repossessing your house." And I was like, What are you talking about? I said, no. He goes, "No, this is not happening." And then he said, because he was a mate of mine I played poker with, he said, "We're repossessing your house and your car." And I said, "No, you're not." And I went around to my business partner's house and I said to him, "What's going on?" And she just happened to have all the paperwork sitting on her kitchen table at the time. And I walked in and I grabbed it all and found months and months of notice of rent that hadn't been paid, stock that had gone missing in our shop, all of these horrible, horrible things. And yes, the next day I was losing my house. So I had no preparation whatsoever, and I was literally out on the streets as of that night. I turned to a lot of friends and family at the time because I had hidden my mobile phone. I was like, they're not getting that. And I'd hidden my mobile phone and I rang up my mum. It was pouring rain. I was sitting out in the street. I rang up my mum and she said to me, "Sweetheart, I'm already in my pajamas. I'm sure you'll work it out."
Oh my God. Is that a reaction that you expected to get from your mum?
I was actually hoping she'd come pick me up. So that's what she said. I was too embarrassed to ring and tell my father because my father is the kind of person that, always aim big, work hard and be proud of yourself. And if you ever have shame upon you, then don't come to me. So I wasn't game enough to tell him. So I spent my first night actually wandering the streets of Portland at the time, just wondering what just happened to my life. All I had was basically a backpack I'd thrown some clothes in and just me. And I found this fridge and sat under it and cried and cried and cried and cried. That's what I did. God.
When you're saying that story, I've actually literally got goosebumps all over my body because...
Yeah, I'm trying not to cry because I got my car on. And I think it was about 4 or 5 days later, I plucked up the courage because I started to smell. It was as simple as that. And I plucked up the courage to go to a local deli, and I had decided I was starving and I was going to steal a loaf of bread. Well, the guy that was in the deli must have known I was new to stealing things, and he came up to me and he said to me, "If you need it that badly, just take it." And I burst into tears. And I told him my story and what was going on. And he said, "What I want you to do is I want you to rock up here every morning at 6 a.m. and I want you to work off any debt of the items that you need." So he allowed me to take fast food from the excess of what was cooked for the day. So, I had plenty of pies and stale bread and all that sort of stuff. And then fast forward 3 months And I've been under the bridge this one particular night, and I was shivering so much that I felt my back was going to break. It was so cold, and I was bawling my eyes out. And I remember just laying there. Asking for God to let me die. I kept praying. I'm like, God, just let me die. I've got nothing else. I'm done. I've got nothing else. And then all of a sudden I felt this warmth on my face. And I thought to myself, God, let me die and go to heaven. And I was really, really happy about that. And then a bloody truck drove over the bridge and woke me up. And I realised I must have fallen asleep at some stage. And this truck drove over the bridge, and it was the sun on my face. And I remember standing up and screaming at the sun, like, what do you want from me? I have got nothing left. And that's when I had this light bulb, and I'm like, you know what? Only I can save me. I wasn't eligible for the dole because I'd gone bankrupt and I had no permanent address. I was too proud to go to the kitchens and get food or anything like that. And I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to go to the library and I'm going to look up some self-help books. And that's what I did. I started looking up some self-help books, and I came across hypnosis. I thought, well, you know what, this is different. Nothing else has worked. So let's do that. And at the library on that day, you could get like an hour on the internet for free. I thought, well, bugger it, I'm going to look up this hypnosis thing. And that's when I came across the ASM training. I made a phone call to them, and I said, look, I'm homeless, I'm bankrupt, but I would really like to do your course. And I spoke to Shane and Jess Fozzard, of all people, and they allowed me to pay it off over a period of 2 years. I attended their ASM course, and it's all the rest has been history.
Wow. So, what amazes me about that story is that out of all the self-help books there are, because there are so many self-help books, it was hypnosis that actually stuck out for you, which and that to me is total synchronicity, because there's no accident in suddenly just hypnosis being the one that comes out to you. There's no accident in that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd been to see all the specialists, all the counsellors, I'd even gone to the doctors at one stage, and he had prescribed medication to me and told me that if I lied to people that he could get me into a commission house to get me off the streets. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I am not a liar. I'm not a thief. I'm a good person. And then when I came across hypnosis, I was like, you know what, this all makes sense. It all comes from within you. Nobody's stopping me from saving myself.
Absolutely. Wow, that's incredible, Trish. I didn't even know that story.
A lot of people don't. Not very often I get up and tell it.
Because I know you, I feel like I know you well, but I didn't know that. So that's pretty important. And so with regards to your relationship with your mum, where's that at now, if I could ask?
Well, what happened was, fast forward probably about 3 years from there, I went to a local festival down in Haywood, and I came across her. I tried to keep in contact, but she kept shutting me out, and I couldn't work out why. And I went to a local festival with my girlfriend, my best friend, Christy, and we came across my mum, and I was like, oh, hey, mum, how you going? And it was actually my sister's birthday on that day as well. And my mum turned to me and she said, oh, we've got to go. We're having a family dinner at the pizza place. And I was like, really? And she goes, yes, I've got to go. And she just walked off. And my girlfriend, Christy, she turned around and she goes, I'm going to slap that bitch. And I'm like, no, I think we have our answer here. Okay, I can just drop it. I said, obviously the label of family has been removed for me, so let's move on with our lives. And then John met my mum once when we were driving past her once, and I said to him, I said, so what do you think of my mum? And he said, she talks to you like you're an associate, like somebody she used to know.
Wow.
So our paths are just separate. She's a good person. She really is. She's a lovely person. It's just that we're on different paths, that's all.
And she's obviously been placed in your life for a reason to react that way.
Absolutely. So, yeah, she did the best she could with what she had.
Yeah, of course. And, you've probably become a lot stronger because of that whole experience. So gratitude is what it's all about. Yep. So tell me, Trish, how did you go from that Well, first of all, let's bring John into this. John, how did you join Trish in her business model?
Right. Well, so a few years ago, it probably started when you had your first IBS conference, hypnosis conference, and I was working at Harvey Norman at the time. So I'd been there for many years. I've done a lot of stuff with retail and sales and stuff like that. So, and that particular weekend, I remember vividly being at work and feeling like I should be somewhere else. So Trish was in Melbourne doing that event, and it was very successful. And I really felt like I wasn't supporting the right people, if that makes sense. So, working for a big business is one thing, but helping, your partner, follow her dreams and stuff like that, that was really what kind of stuck with me. And it was just after that, I think we went for a holiday in Tasmania.
Yeah, we were leaving that weekend, or the weekend after.
Yeah, and so during that time that I had off and we went to Tasmania, it was basically, I'd kind of come to that conclusion that I'd like to kind of help support and do what I can. And so it kind of made sense with my background in, I guess, sales, retail, technology, all those sorts of things to help with the business. And that's kind of how it came together. And I was getting a little bit sick of being, kicked around at the, in retail. Yeah, it was good for a little while and I did enjoy it, but I just felt like that the motivation had stopped for trying to help people and went into make as much profit as possible. So that wasn't really sitting well with me. So I'd much rather, do the business stuff with Trish, and that's kind of how it started. Yeah. So once I got back, I put in my resignation, and then since then we've done all of the online stuff and our own mentoring and all that sort of stuff, which has been great. So
it's been fantastic.
Beautiful. I love it. Absolutely love it. So tell me, Trish, with regards to IBS, how did that become your niche?
It actually became my niche because when I started studying hypnosis, I found that before then I was actually wearing a heart rate monitor for every time I'd have an anxiety attack. And every time I had an anxiety attack, because I had IBS, I would defecate myself as well. So I'd gotten to that stage in my life where everywhere I went, I was carrying around a pair of underpants, $20 in a just in case I need to buy a pair of trousers as well. And I also was always continuously worried that I might smell, because when you have IBS, sometimes some people have a smell about them. Anyway, when I went through the hypnosis, I was like, well, this has got to help with IBS. So that's what I did. I started dabbling into gut-directed hypnotherapy, different modalities, and then curing myself as such from this issue that was creating social anxieties. It was making me not want to go to people's places because I would have horrible gas. And then when I met John, our very first date that we had, I actually spent in the car park at the hospital because his brother had just been diagnosed with Crohn's disease and was being flown out to Adelaide.
Yeah.
So he was getting major surgery, and I actually spent the night in the car park, and I thought, well, can this help with Crohn's as well, and colitis and diverticulitis, and these bigger issues? So John's brother actually then allowed me to see what a stoner looked like, interact with all the different medications that he had, all the stories and the problems that he was going through as well. So it all sort of, like you said, it was synchronicity. It all just aligned in together. And then as we talked about it more to other family and friends, they were all jumping on board going, well, can you help me? So it just sort of became exponential from there. So originally it started off with me and then to John's brother.
Yeah.
So Trish, did you actually, was the initial event, when did you get IBS? Was it when you were going through that trauma?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I actually have IBS too, and I got it in 1999 when I was going through my first divorce, which was very traumatic for me, having a little boy and all the rest of it. and I've had it ever since. I have it ever since that time. But luckily, because we all have different symptoms, I didn't have those symptoms that you described. Yeah. But certainly, this is certainly getting bigger and bigger, isn't it, in terms of people that are gluten intolerant?
Absolutely. And that's why at HypnoBiz, we're going to be upgrading it from IBS to gut-directed hypnotherapy.
Yeah, it's kind of all-encompassing.
It's all-encompassing. So it's a bigger modality now, and it's absolutely huge. And and on that note, we're going to be talking about the vagus nerve, how it all is connected with the body. We'll be teaching people about vagal tones and gut-directed hypnotherapy, and how it all becomes universal to so many different levels of emotions that are going on in our lives.
I love it. And I love the fact that John's actually going to be presenting alongside with you. So how do you work that? How does that happen?
Well, that is a very good question. Like I say, Trish is the expert. I guess, where my part really comes in with us working as a team and in terms of the business and stuff like that, it's really about the automated business systems and the sort of technological side, I guess. So
to work smarter, not harder.
Yes, that's kind of my focus.
And John's going to be showing you how you can do it all online and how you can get it networked out to the world. Like, he's really, really good at all that stuff.
Yeah, and as technology gets better and more people are connected, especially, geographically, having people all over the world being able to, video conference and all this sort of stuff, that's really where the kind of the future of the industry is going, is being able to have this online connection and stuff. So I guess that's really my forte.
Fantastic. I can't wait. It's exciting. Exciting.
Absolutely.
And also you've got an exhibitors table. So what will you be selling on your exhibitors table?
So on our exhibitors table, we'll also have our modern mentoring, which is going to teach you how to do all the online stuff, as well as the gut-directed hypnotherapy as well. Mm-hmm. We've also added a small section for Lawrence Ackers as well, so that he can have part of his criteria. He's recording for hypnotherapists because we're very down-to-earth people, and we want to see the whole industry strive. So we're more than happy to help other people as part of that. So,
I guess we'll be, open to kind of, chatting about the online learning kind of systems that we have in place.
And the gut-directed hypnotherapy.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all part of it, I guess.
Lovely.
The online learning.
And it's also about, not only emotions, but you've got your nutrition as well, and how all the muscles and organs work together. So it's a big criteria.
Yeah, wonderful. I love the way you two relate to each other. It's just beautiful to see. Beautiful to see. It really is. It really is. You can see what a great relationship you've got, and you're really blessed to be able to work together as well as be life partners. So that's just a beautiful thing to see. It really is. It warms my heart. It really does.
Thank you.
So tell me, are you excited about coming to Hypnobiz Australia?
Absolutely.
Sure.
We've only just recently come back from Queensland, and John's like, we're going to go up even further now. And I'm like, I know, right? How awesome is that going to be?
Yeah, it's the first time in Brisbane only a few weeks ago. So I hadn't even been to Queensland before. So beautiful weather. Down south here, between Adelaide and Melbourne, we're near the coast, and it's pretty cold.
It's very fresh.
The last month or something is barely over about 20 degrees, if not probably 18, 16 degrees, that kind of temperature range.
And we're excited.
The weather is not a problem, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And we're excited also to catch up with a lot of not only Australian presenters, but international ones as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have been hanging to meet Helen Mitas. I did some training with her. She's absolutely phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I've heard nothing but good praise about Sheila Granger as well. And, and with Lawrence and Alison and Emma and Shani, it's going to be fantastic. And Shane again.
It's incredible. It's incredible. It's like everybody who has played a role and a significant role in our profession here and overseas is going to be in the one place Can you imagine the vibe?
It's just going to go off tops,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
It will be, absolutely.
Incredible. I'm so excited.
It's a great networking opportunity and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and meet some new faces as well. You know, ones that you've probably only seen on the internet, and you think, oh, I'd really like to meet them. Get some photos, and yeah, it's going to be great. Love it.
Absolutely. And we are so, you know, Trish, you know this, that as soon as that, you know, we decided that we were going to have Hypnobiz Australia, one of the very first people, you know, I could say top 5 that I knew I was going to personally invite to the conference was yourself. So, and you know that because I said to you, there's a surprise coming up, and yeah, you were on my top 5 in terms of a personal invite. You know, I knew that, you know, we couldn't have a conference without you. So very happy to have you and John together.
I'm a bonus. Like I say, Trish is the star. I'm a bonus.
The star needs glitter as well.
You're the value add.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for coming to Hypnobiz Australia and to present your stuff and to have an exhibitors table. We're so excited to have you. And if there's something that you could say, just about anything at all, just to leave our people with, what would it be, Trish and John?
Hypnobiz rocks.
Yes, and we'll see you there.
We will absolutely be there. And don't be afraid to approach us either. We want to talk to as many people as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we are very down to earth, and we want to talk and teach and help out and hear your stories as well. So just grab your ticket now, get onto it.
Thank you. And thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for that.
I'll bat my eyelids later.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us, Helen. Thank you.
Bye.